Thank you very much. I will start by joining the chorus of congratulations to the organizers, Sandra and her team, Jean-Claude, Fred, and all of them who joined forces to bring me here. And it is really a privilege to be part of this gathering. You have the title. I think that it's about repositioning Africa as a strategic partner for the Caribbean in different areas, and particularly in the area of transport, infrastructure, etc. I will speak to mostly the African side, so what the Caribbean may gain by partnering with Africa. And this has been touched on yesterday in at least two presentations whose authors are here in front of me, and actually I would just add to what they have said already. First, let's look at challenges, risk factors, and threats. So the bad news that can impede doing business. There are issues of safety and security, which are not peculiar to Africa. It's a commonly shared global challenge, actually, as we all know, tied to issues of religious fundamentalism and radicalization, but also aggravated by foreign interventionism or interventionisms in Africa. There is also the issue of challenges in the area of productive factors, such as infrastructure, energy, access to industrial and financial capital, services, etc. But also the absence of a development model. Unfortunately, I don't have time to elaborate, but it is important to know that that is a big challenge. The absence of an endogenous Africa thought and defined economic model, without which it's not possible to work with efficiency and coherence. There are, of course, governance issues in the political and economic area. And again, they are not a monopoly of Africa, as we may see if time allows in the discussions. But all of us, we know that. Challenges, risk factors, so move third. You are there? Okay, thank you. There is a need to boost and leverage intra-African trade. It's still relatively weak, despite efforts that are being made. And I will mention a few of such efforts, inter-African trade. Now, apart from that, or in opposition to such threats, risks, challenges, there are also good news. There are opportunities on the African continent, which is considered almost unanimously today as the new economic frontier on a global stage, labeled as the continent of the future. Why? Because of its, this has been said yesterday, economic growth rates, levels of profitability of productive investments, its demographic weight, and we know that unlike what certain theoreticians try to teach us or to impose, demography, if well managed, is not a challenge per se. It is it can be a powerful productive factor. In Africa today, as we speak, totals more than 1 billion people, and that gives it weight. But also, not only the weight, the demographic weight, but demographic profile as well, because the majority, as was said yesterday, the majority of such population is young. And this is really a tremendous potential if it is well managed. Of course, we know of the natural resource endowment of Africa, despite mismanagement and plundering that is ongoing. And there is a remarkable margin of progress that leaves open the possibility for a country like Nigeria to rank in 2050 alongside other countries such as Mexico and Indonesia among the group of the top 10 economies globally, surpassing countries such as the UK and France. So these, we are talking of economic trends today. Africa as a continent of the future. We are talking here about its geostrategic position at the center of the world economic market, and on the world map. It's vibrant civil societies, which despite still undemocratic tendencies among the current rulership rather than leadership, are imposing changes, like for instance in Burkina Faso, in Benin, in Senegal, my country, twice, etc., etc. So there is a tradition that is being consolidated towards improved governance. There is also within the people cultural ethos of resilience, which we have demonstrated through the saga of resistance to oppression on the continent and outside, with pages brilliantly written sometimes under the leadership, under female leadership, by the fighting Maroons of the cockpit country in Jamaica, the Saramaka, the Juka of Suriname, the Quinti and the Matavai, the Boni of Guyana, etc., etc., but also on the continent, but also a culture of industriousness and creativity among the youth and the women, who on a daily basis are inventing responses to their developmental challenges with or without the support of the respective states. There is also the relevance and the operational value of certain constitutional and or life principles and values as part of the cultural heritages from what I call African Africa. I don't have time to elaborate on that. That is one concept that I have coined myself. Such values like Ubuntu and MAT account for the promotion of people-centeredness in development strategy. And that is important because one problem that we have today and that accounts for the global crisis is that some of its basic paradigms were established within a cultural and a historical context whereby the transformation in the areas of technology and science were not underpinned by transformation in the cultural, spiritual spheres of life. And that's why we find ourselves where we are. And what happened is that actually Europe started implementing such deleterious logic, applying it to its own people before moving out in the formative age of the different nation states, European nation states, before moving out outside of Europe to apply it to others. Let's move. Where are we? Okay, yeah, good. Thank you, because it's difficult to, but I should watch out. Thank you very much. Okay, good news about responses to challenges of productive factors in the area of infrastructure and energy, as you may see here in Madagascar, in Tanzania, etc., with support with investments, and sometimes a very huge investment from the African Development Bank, also in infrastructure and services, including ICT in Uganda, projects for an inland port, hubs in West Africa, in Ghana, the gas oil tank terminal, etc., etc. So there are good news. Other good news is in the area, the developments, improvements in the area of infrastructure and governance have resulted in progress in economic growth. This also has been referred to yesterday. In the area of infrastructure, the standard gauge railway, both in East Africa but also in West Africa, there are projects that are being implemented, that have been defined and being implemented. Good news, still good news. Similar efforts in the area of infrastructure, integration, and improvement of the business environment. Unfortunately, there is no time to go into details here. Here I would like to focus on, if time would allow, on West Africa and Senegal, where I am from. There are, in the discussions, maybe we can come back to that. There are also efforts at regional integration in the area of railway, including in Rwanda, Tanzania, Burundi, etc., in East Africa, Uganda, Kenya, Rwanda, South Sudan, etc., etc. There are also efforts aimed at boosting inter-African trade. As we speak, there is the World Economic Forum taking place in Kigali in Rwanda, and there is a decision that has been taken there. It is called an initiative called Move Africa in the area of integration, regional integration. So there is a need for follow-up to that initiative. From the picture that I have depicted, I believe that there are indeed opportunities for partnerships. Despite many challenges, countries such as Nigeria, South Africa, Rwanda, Tanzania, Mauritius, countries in the Maghreb and Mashriq, Kenya, to some extent Senegal, Ghana, South Sudan, etc., and others, there are opportunities for partnership in areas of infrastructure, services, enabling business environment, etc. There is potential. These countries have potential and proven expertise which can be leveraged through strategic partnerships between Africa and the Caribbean. I'm being reminded about time, so I have to move swiftly. Within such a context, business cannot be done as usual. There is also a need for a paradigm shift. This has been said yesterday. So we need to find new and creative ways of doing business. First, of course, there is a possibility of partnering, individual partnerships, but also it will be important to try to work in an integrated manner, taking into consideration that Africa has a development plan, which is NEPAD, despite its challenges, a development strategy and plan. There are other success stories like in Seychelles, where I will be moving when I go out of here, as from the 21st, in the area of blue economy and using, harnessing the resources of its exclusive economic zone, etc. And there are other initiatives. There is a need for new creative ways to do the right thing. I have referred to the need for an economic model, and here I would single out two aspects: the need for gender equity and empowerment of women, but also for intergenerational equity, to see how to work to empower the youth, because as I said, the youth and the women are inventing on a daily basis and in an unprecedented levels and ways responses, durable, sustainable responses to the development challenges faced by the people. So it is necessary to harness that. There is a need.
Voilà, le mot de la fin avec vous.
Conclusion. Okay. Okay, in the area of remittances, there is also something to access capital. If I had 5 minutes, I would be done, believe me, but you are the boss here. Issues of regional integration needs to be also leveraged. In the area of economic thinking, planning, implementation, there is also the need to be creative. And actually, people are being created. For instance, you would hear that, and I will end up in there, that Africa is marginal in the world trade. The only problem with such an assertion, despite the fact that it is being repeated again and again, is that it is not true. In fact, Africa, and this is the result of serious scholarship conducted from an inter and even transdisciplinary perspective by the Dakar School of Thought with economists, etc., that has demonstrated that Africa is the most, not the best, integrated continent on the world. So it is necessary to take that into account. So since I have to conclude, go to the last. So here I would like to the last, the 21. There is no time. La dernière, oui. So to say to you, to say thank you for your patience, for listening to me. That's English, for those who do not know. Merci en pile, I think that some people here would understand. Siabonga Gakulu, that is in isiZulu, South Africa. Okay, merci. Some may know also what it means, in which language it is. Kanimambo, that's Shangaan from Mozambique, that is part of the Songa subgroup. Jërëgen Jëf, that's my language, Wolof from Senegal. Asante Nisana in Swahili, thank you very much. And once again, Hongera. Now, Hongera is not thank you, it's congratulations. Again, Hongera to Sandra and her wonderful team and hardworking. Thank you very much.
Merci, Monsieur Samba Buri.